Today, you might have checked your email, your Facebook notifications, read an article or two, maybe looked up what the weather is looking like or what's going on with the traffic. Technology is more involved in our lives than ever, and at the beginning of a new year, we wanted to take a moment and assess what's working and what's not. Ramona Pringle is the director of the Transmedia Zone at Ryerson University. This sounds an awful lot like an intervention. Has somebody set you up to try to get my phone away from me? Do I have to hand it off here?
Well, it's funny. As you were giving that intro, I was like, check your email once.
Yeah,
It's
right.
awfully quaint.
I've checked my email once since I started reading them.
Right.
Yeah. Though, I mean, is it time for us as a society to just sort of like, technology has made our lives so much easier, so much better, so much more accessible. You can look things up. You don't have to argue about things in a bar anymore. You can just Google it. But I feel like it's time to just take a step back and say, well, wait a second, where are my priorities?
Exactly. Technology is a relationship like any other. It's quite an intimate one. We have our smartphones in our hand for so much of the day. Is there a person that we spend as much time with as our smartphones? And I think we were in that sort of courtship phase, the Cloud9 rose-colored glasses phase for a really long time. The megapixel on the cameras was getting better, and they were doing so many more things to make our lives more convenient and to make our lives better. But then things started happening that we weren't quite so comfortable with. We started feeling anxious because of it. And I think it's not that we want to break up, but it is time, as you say, for a relationship talk. What's working, what's not working?
Well, and you wrote a great column about this that I'll put up on our Facebook feed and on my Twitter feed, because it was really interesting about just the stress that it can cause.
Yeah.
And it's not just how much time you spend with your precious phone. It's that you're in a filter bubble and you're getting sort of the echo chamber of it all. Quickly, what is a filter bubble? Because I think everybody will know it once you explain it.
Yeah.
We all have it.
Well, we really saw it this year. So the filter bubble is this idea that because we self-select our social networks, we choose which friends and colleagues we want to be friends with on Facebook, we end up getting information, the articles that they share, the information and videos that they share from people who often think like us, act like us, probably have a very similar education to us. In fact, what we find is the people with the most egregious points of view are often our relatives because they're the least self-selected out of everyone that's there. And that feels good. You know, one of the driving design factors in social media over the last decade has been customization. These companies realized we will buy more, we will spend longer on the site, we will engage more if they give us exactly what we want. But you know, the morning after Brexit, the morning after, or people stayed up all night with the U.S. election, but I think a lot of people realized that their view of the world may not have been accurate because they were getting the information that they wanted to be getting and that their social circle was repeating, and that's the filter bubble.
So I had 2 New Year's resolutions. I don't love New Year's resolutions, but it was sort of time, and whether it was New Year's or not, I sort of needed to do this. One is expand the people I follow on Twitter and try to find ways out of that filter bubble. And the other is just simply to put my phone down more. In disconnecting, in putting it down and walking away, you don't want to, as you say, break up. You just need to manage your relationship better. What's the best way to do that?
Well, the response that I've gotten from people, and part of the reason I wanted to start this year off with this column was that I hear this everywhere, and people keep saying to me that they want control. It was their New Year's resolutions, and it is about control over where we're focusing our attention, because I think so many people feel like, how is it that this little device has so much power over me, has so much control over my attention? So in terms of taking that control over our attention and our connection, I think the first step people can do is to turn off push notifications. Yeah. It's the combination of social media and email and the smartphone that together means we're always getting alerts about who likes something, who has had a birthday that day, and then breaking news.
And they're just distracting enough to stop you from reading or stop you from talking. Or
and what
whatever.
that means is that every time your phone buzzes or pings you with an update, we respond to it. So that's where it gets the control over us. And every app, whether or not it's email or social media or the weather or Candy Crush or any of the games that you've got on your phone, probably has push notifications. So we're constantly being distracted. And if you can turn those off, what it means is then you make the meaningful, purposeful, mindful decision of, you know what, I'm having my coffee, maybe I'd like to check social media now. And instead of checking email every time a new message comes in, choosing when throughout the day you want to be checking your messages, which we've been ingrained with with this new behavior. I think we've sort of normalized distraction and multitasking. We've come to think that it's okay when you're in a meeting or at dinner that people are checking their phones.
Well, you're talking to somebody doing this and not really. I can hear you. I'm paying attention. I'm listening. Keep talking. It's
and
brutal.
so there's a bit of a backlash, and I think that that's where the first half, the kind of digital quick fix, is the turning off those push notifications. The other side of it is making decisions about when you just want to leave the phone in your pocket or in your purse and
or
focus.
At home.
Yeah, well.
Don't be crazy. Well, because I knew we were doing this, I downloaded today an app that just tracks my usage, because you know data tells us what you're doing, and you can make better decisions. And just having this tracker on my phone, I just pulled it up now to check. I've used my phone for 16 minutes today, so I barely turned the thing on. When you compare it to, I don't know what my normal usage would be. I'd be horrified to know. But just simply adding it has made me more cognizant and aware of I don't want that number to get too high, and then tomorrow when I wake up it'll tell me what apps I used more than anything else. At least then you know, and you're deciding to spend hours doing this as opposed to something else.
And I think that's such a great tool, and I've done it myself, and it's actually the first assignment I ever give grad students is to do that as well. These who are looking into digital media especially, if you've got a medical condition, whether you're having stomach aches or you have a skin issue, the first thing doctors will tell you to do is to keep a diary of everything that you're eating, because we're just not conscious of our behavior so often. We just don't pay attention to the little details. And the same is true of our digital media usage. The second you start tracking where you're spending your time, I think it's surprising to know how much of it we spend where we may not intend it.
And we're almost out of time, but I do want to say it's not all bad. Phones are good. They're wonderfully creative instruments, and we should avail ourselves of them. We should just understand how much time we're dedicating to them, right?
Absolutely. These are tools, and we want to make sure that we are using our tools. We want to make sure that we are in control of the technology, that it's not in control of us. And I think there's a lot of people that just started feeling overwhelmed. We know about there's the anxiety that gets caused when you've got these graphic images in your news feed. And without context, and work emails after hours, and the constant influx of not knowing whether news is real or not. And it's just, if people are feeling bad, how do you regain control so you can use these tools to their maximum advantage?
Here we go. Regaining control, one step at a time. Ramona, thanks for this.
Absolutely.